Two gun lovers have written a new children's book to help kids understand the open carry lifestyle. It's called My Parents Open Carry. And it tells the heartwarming story of Brenna, her mom, and what looks like her other mom wearing a mustache. Unlike other parents, Brenna's mom and dad carry loaded weapons openly, which might make her feel different. But her father reassures her that, Brenna, there is evil in this world, and we want to protect you the best we can. When seconds count, the police are minutes away. What a beautiful bedtime story.
What an idiot. I got to tell you, you know, God forbid anybody ever breaks into his home, and if he has kids, if it's too late to call the police, what would he do? You know, I don't use the term, I don't usually call names, but I got to tell you, mocking the concept of being able to carry a gun to protect your kid and yourself is just idiotic. Joining us now is Brian Jeffs, co-founder and director of research for Michigan Open Carry. Hello, Brian.
How you doing, sir? Thanks for having me.
Well, my pleasure. And you know, ignore what you just heard, because it just shows you struck a nerve with the left, and when you strike a nerve with the left, that means you're doing something right. And you are the co-author of a book called My Parents Open Carry by yourself and Nathan Nephew. And you know, it tells the story. I mean, it was basically accurately described, ironically enough, in that clip you just heard. And talk about why you founded Michigan Open Carry and why you took it to the next level in a book.
Well, first, I want to let you know I've sent a thank you card to Stephen Colbert, because he helped make our book 200 bestsellers in Amazon right now.
That's great.
So I can't complain. What came about was that Nate and I were open carrying in Michigan in 2007, and it wasn't very common. So we thought we'd found a group, Michigan Open Carry, to help educate the public and law enforcement. And as we were giving our little seminars and talks and meetings, we kept getting the same questions over and over again. And we thought, you know, we need to write a book that incorporates those questions. But there were so many adult books around for firearms. There were no kids' books. We thought, oh, bingo, this is a niche that we can fill. So we used that as a platform to write a story about Brenna and her mom and dad, who decide they want to take on the responsibility of self-defense. They're responsible parents. We cover all of those things in the book. And it was a platform for us to have people that they interact with on a day in the life to answer those questions that come up all the time. So we talk about the pros, the cons, retention holsters, situational awareness, gun safety, all of those types of things are covered in this book. And, you know, these people are making fun of it, and they haven't even read it. You know, they're making fun of the cover. Well, if that's the worst they can do,
right.
so much. But I'll tell you, it has really launched the book into the mainstream, and that's good for us, and it's good for people in general that want to learn a little bit more about self-defense and start their kids at an early age.
Well, you know, the liberals here in the Northeast, for one group, and Charles Schumer, you know, his famous quote, which has been mimicked by so many, that even for people who want to carry, you know, even concealed, they don't understand that most of the country are allowed to carry concealed and have a right to carry. And he says, oh, you know, you're going to have people killing each other over parking spots, fighting in bars and shooting at the wild, wild west. And of course, that just doesn't happen. And then you have also parents and teachers and people who the last thing they want to do is educate kids about guns, other than to say guns are evil. That's all they want to do as far as education.
Indoctrinate them to hate guns. They know nothing about it, so we just want to scare them. And that's part of the issue of the book. You know, they see guns and they see kids' book and they go ballistic. If you want to make a anti-gun liberal's head explode, buy a copy of our book and donate it to the elementary school library, and it will probably be the librarians whose head would explode. So that's one way you can get back. But it's a good book. It's not teaching children to open carry. It's against the law for them to possess firearms. But it's a starting point to discuss your natural right to self-defense. That there is this thing called the Second Amendment. You're never too young to learn about your civil rights. So go for it. I would rather teach kids about guns so they know that guns are not toys,
Right.
that they are dangerous things. They're a tool, much like a buzzsaw or a drill. Those things can harm people as well. You use them properly, they're perfectly safe. Treat them with respect. You don't play with them. And if they had that kind of training in school, in elementary school, some kind of gun safety course that was mandatory across the country, I bet accidental gun deaths, which really, aren't that high. Every death is a tragedy. But when they say thousands die, we know that it's really about 100 a year on average, depending on the sources you look at. But what's funny is as gun ownership has increased,
the number has gone down.
Yeah, the accidents have gone down.
And
so,
Brian, let me interrupt because I want to ask
Sure.
you quickly in the time we have left. When you talk about groups like Moms Demand Action, and they got a store like Target to prohibit, make it a no gun zone, and these other no gun zones. I mean, how many of these people would put a sign on their home saying no gun zone? It's just an open invitation to the criminal. I mean, you're telling them, hey, you can come in here. No one's gonna be able to stop you.
And in fact, after Target did that, they had 2 or 3 robberies and a murder in their parking lot. So Target and those groups didn't really ban gun. What they said was, we wish you wouldn't bring them here. So that tells you that they don't really want it, but they didn't come out and say you can't carry here. So we want to clear that up. So that's really not a loss per se, but it they are showing you your cards
Right.
in that regard. But if you look at the history of mass killings in this country, I think almost all of them in the last 30 years have been in gun-free zones. And why is that? That's because law-abiding citizens obey the law. They don't have guns there.
In fact, one of the theater shooter, he went to several theaters closer to his home, but he went to one that was a gun-free
Absolutely.
theater. Hey, listen, Brian, congratulations again. The book
Thank
is
you.
My Parents Open Carry by Brian Jeffs and, of course, Nathan Nephew. Check it out, folks, and educate your children if you so desire. And thank you for coming on. We really appreciate it, Brian.
Steve, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. All right, folks, we will be back with, and it's such an important topic, educating kids about guns. We'll be back with more of the Steve Malzberg Show after the break. But first, you stay tuned for the Newsmax Now update. Don't go away.